was a son. He was devoured by earth. There was a God. They call him the Father. And there was a means to make a valley with grace out of this hole that I've dug for me. He made a valley of grace.
Welcome to the Valley of Grace podcast, helping women reclaim their power and identity so they will know they are enough. And today I have a special guest, is Isabelle Stephenson. And we're just going to start off without further ado with her telling the audience her life story.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Katina. And before I start with my story, I would like to acknowledge you for what you do in the world and for helping women and empowering them and helping them in their process. So I acknowledge you for your work. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You're so my life story. So right now, at this moment, I'm 52, and it started way back in France. I was born in France. I was raised in Germany, so I just gave away my accent. And I came to the United States because I met my husband while I was a nanny here, and he was a friend of the family. So then I moved here at a very young age of 21.
Wow.
Gave up everything, my family, my language, my friends, everything, and started life here. And married in the US. Okay. I've been here 30 years.
Wow.
And it's a long story. I did many things. I started in the medical field as a learning of pediatric nursing and thinking I could finish that here, but it took so long to get credits on the level with the American system. So long story short, I learned physical therapist assistant, and then I had my firstborn. And then I had 5 more, so I have 6 children, and I was blessed enough to be a stay-at-home mom. And after many years of homeschooling, we decided public school was the right thing to do. And at that time, also my oldest was going through a really tough time, struggling, and of course we were struggling with him, and that's when I reached out to a coach. She called herself a mentor, and she helped me transform that relationship with my oldest, but also my relationship with myself, and therefore with everybody else around me. And I fell in love with what she did. So my dream, I always say, a seed was planted in my heart at that time to do what she did, because I learned so much and I fell in love with it. So then I looked into becoming certified, and that's what I do now. I help women, mostly women in midlife, to achieve their goal of having healthier relationships.
Wow. Now, how long ago was this when you started with the coaching, you said?
I got certified in 2017.
Okay, wow. And this is 2021. I was just trying to think, in terms of time frame. So 2017, you started coaching.
Yeah, so 4 years, but my message to women, it's never too late. It's never too late.
Isn't that the truth? If God gave you
a dream, then go for it. Go for it. You'll figure it out. It's hard, but it's worth it.
I agree with you. It's never too late. A lot of times we'll say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. The other day, it's like last week, there was a 93-year-old man that got his diploma from high school because he had never gotten it.
Nice.
93 years old.
Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
So like you said, as long as God has given us breath in our body, we still have time.
That's right. I believe that. And you kind of know when it's a God-given assignment, because it just won't let you go. Like sometimes you're like, can I give up now? But it's like, no.
It's something in you that won't let it go.
Won't let you go. Yeah, that's what I'm experiencing. And it's just so fulfilling to to help others transform their lives. There's nothing better right now. So it's worth the struggle.
Oh my goodness, I agree with that 100%.
100%.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Why do you think it is when it comes to women that women as a whole will stay in unhealthy relationships for so long?
That is a deep question. I would say it's because, first of all, fear is very real. So their fear of leaving, their fear of being alone, their fear of not being supported financially, their fear of having people criticize them or going against them, that's real. So I acknowledge the fear in their lives because it's real. And somebody just telling them to leave it's not gonna work. They need help. They need step-by-step help. They need a support system. And also, other than the fear, which is very big and very real, for most, it's also something that's familiar.
Yes.
And the familiar always feels a little more easier than the new.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes. So it's not good, but at least it's familiar.
Right.
Whatever is unfamiliar is even more scary. So that's two of the big reasons. And there's many, many minute reasons. Every woman has their own story, but those are the two big ones.
Yep. That fear. That is so true. Like you said, the fear of the unknown. You know, if I get out, what am I going to do next?
Yes.
Right? So many question marks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots of question marks. Yes.
A lot of them. But you're right, that fear. And when you think about it, it's fear that will hold us back from doing almost anything.
True. And I was just thinking, as you were saying that, one client came to me. She was, I'm gonna say a little older. You know, I don't want to give away age or names. And she was going through a divorce of a very long marriage, and everybody criticized her, family, friends, church friends, and she was able to start a new life. So it's never too late. She was able to leave an unhealthy relationship and start new. I would say she had like this big fog around her for the longest time, but little by little it lifted, and she came to realize her own worth and her capability, and with the right support system, she did one decision after another, and the more decisions she made, the better she felt about herself, and now she's living independently in her own place without a abusive relationship. So it's possible.
It is possible, isn't it? Which I guess it would kind of lead us to the next question of your definition of an empowered new chapter of life. What do you think that entails?
That is a beautiful question. I love it. So I was taking some notes because I'm like, that is a great question. I'm thinking, if you don't feel empowered, if you think about it, right, as a Christian, if you don't feel empowered, you won't even do your God-given assignment.
That's true.
Right? So I'm going with the, if that's not in place, then you can't do what God has told you to do. So we have to learn to take bold steps, and that's not easy, but again, it's a skill and you can learn it, right? And also you can't do that without confidence, or as a beautiful lady coined it, Godfidence. I forgot her name now, but she was a beauty contestant in a beauty pageant, and she coined the term Godfidence. I'll think of the name later, I'm sure. So it's the empowerment. I think it's also to ask, like when it says ask and you shall receive, right? That's part of it. Like empowering is to ask the right questions and to ask for something that you think you need in your life. And as women, we're not allowing ourselves to do that, to ask those questions.
No, we're not. I agree.
Yes. So empowerment is one thing is to ask the right questions and to realize without it, I can't even do what God assigned me to do.
That is so
it's
true.
It's a positive thing. And also I believe, it says faith without actions is dead. So take action, and you can always course correct. You can always like just start, be scared and start. God will course correct you for sure. But taking action is also a part of empowerment. And I also know, because I've been there and I've been that woman in the church, you can really hide under like this veil of humility.
You sure can.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. Yeah,
right?
There's a lot of stuff that hides under humility. I'm just a meek, humble Christian woman.
Yes. So I can't do that thing, know?
Yep.
And they're afraid. So I've been there many years, and it's, there is something in your life that you're meant to do. And it, like I said, it's kind of, nagging at you, and there's something more. So don't hide behind humility, because if you look at Christ's life, he was powerful and meek, right?
That's true.
He was both. So we can be humble and powerful.
We sure can. Yep. I agree 100%. Yes. What role do you think that community plays when it comes to us healing from past hurts? And then what role did it play rather in your life when it came for you to heal? Came time for you to heal?
Again, an excellent question. So community is super important. And maybe community is starting with one person, like I did with hiring that coach. She was the first one I had listened to some online summits about peaceful parenting, and then I found her, and then it was like the ball kept rolling.
Wow.
But just to have one positive voice in your life that helps you to take action and take steps into a better future. It starts with one. So community starts with one. And then also just, like they say, the 5 people that you're spending the most time with are influencing your life the most. Yes. They don't have to be necessarily 5, people right in front of me. That could be an author from a book.
True.
That could be somebody in a Facebook group. There's so many encouraging Facebook groups nowadays where you can find support. True. So the community doesn't have to look like a woman's Bible study, or, you know what I'm saying? Think outside of the box.
Community I was just about to say that too. Yep, that box. We put things in a box for community.
Yes. So community is not what it used to be. We're in a digital world, and there is so much encouragement in this digital world. Like, people were complaining that they got all this negative feed during COVID in their Facebook, scrolls, and I'm like, I didn't. Because I wasn't affiliated with any, complainers or, those who had very strong opinions. So I avoided that. So your community is what you make it to be also. You can let go of some that are not useful, and you can find those that are supporting you.
That is true. Because sometimes, like you said, after a while, you might go like, I don't think this is for me,
Yeah. And
communities just doesn't feel right about it,
Exactly. And go with that gut feeling if it's not feeling right. And I have to say something that just came to me. A friend sent me this poem, and I don't have it in English, and I don't even have it in front of me in German, but it was about people in your life are like you taking a train ride, and you're in the train, and somebody comes in and stays with you for the whole ride. Somebody comes for a certain time. Somebody goes out at the next stop. Somebody stays for 3 stops. But they're all part of your community. Some are not meant to be there the whole time, and that's okay. You let them go.
Right.
Some are meant to be there for a certain time in your life, or maybe a little closer, and then they move up to the next train. It's the coming and going of people in our lives. And I think as women, we're very adaptable to that, right? We can adapt to new people in our lives, and welcome them in, and take them under our wings, and encourage them.
Yes, and encourage them. And then, it's like, we got the grief because of the loss. That part of the process is a part of life, but, having to process that grief once, God says, okay, that time is up as far as that friendship, relationship. Yes. And then we, what I mean?
Yes, you're right.
Yes. Just having the sense to be like I said, just trying to process that. That's it. That's a whole nother level. It's within itself, isn't it?
Important, very important. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
A whole nother level within itself. So, how do you feel when it comes to a person, if they're feeling like they're not enough, how is that going to impede their faith?
I think we all suffer with that not feeling enough, right? So nobody is exempt. I think it's just a human thing that we don't feel enough, and I don't have the answer to why that is so. But it definitely, if you just think about, if you don't feel, I'm going to use the word capable. If you don't feel capable, then you're not going to take action, right? It goes back to the action that we talked about. So not feeling enough keeps you in one place.
True.
So it keeps you from speaking up because you don't have the confidence that your voice counts, that you have wisdom, that you can give guidance. So not feeling enough is really not useful at all.
That is true.
It is not useful. So the more we can get away from that, and also it's not biblical, right? And I have to say, there is some teaching where you're taught to be small and you are nothing and this and that, and you're a sinner, and right? But God created you and he gave you an assignment. So if I believe that I am not enough, well, why would God not make me enough if he wants me to do something good in the world, right?
Right.
So it's really it's holding you back. It's keeping you stuck, and you're not going to take action, because with that belief, what you can't do, if I'm not enough, I'm not going to try anything, right?
That is true. Yep. You're not going to try anything, because you're thinking, I'm not measuring up.
That's right. I'm not measuring up. Somebody else is better at this, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then the world misses out on being blessed by your unique wiring. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I love it. Your unique wiring. That's beautiful. Exactly. And who did that, right?
Right.
God wired you in your unique way. So you have a unique gift to give. Absolutely.
It's something how you can put 50 women in a room, and I don't care how many similar experiences we have, it'll still be another, who knows how many more that we got different, and our wiring is different because, God created us uniquely, and then we all have different schools we've attended, different countries we might have lived in, different neighborhoods, different cars you drive. I mean, food you eat, all of that plays into why we are the way we are. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody has their own story, very different.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
So sometimes people will, we'll feel like, okay, well, if somebody's doing something being worthy, I can't do that. Or if somebody else is helping women to release depression, I can't do that. And even though it might be the exact same thing, the same topic, we all are going to come at it at a different angle, because
in a different angle,
different experiences and different wiring.
Very true. Everybody comes with a different experience. Absolutely.
Yep. So that's really something how that comes into play. What would be your advice that you would give to somebody that's struggling with the not enoughness and unworthiness?
Okay, so the first step is always being aware that you have that belief, I'm not enough, that you can't do anything unless you acknowledge it and you're aware of it. That's always the first step, first letter of the alphabet, awareness. You have to be aware of it. And then you ask yourself, is this belief helping me? Is this belief useful? And then you answer yourself, because I'm never telling anybody what they should believe or shouldn't believe. But is that useful? Is that helpful? And then if your answer, if it's yes, then keep it. If it's no, then okay, now how can I renew that belief? How can I just reframe it? I'm not enough. Well, what is the truth here, right? What is the truth? What would propel me to do good in the world? What would propel me to do my God-given assignment? Me believing I'm not good enough, it's going to keep me stuck and not taking any action. So what was your question? What would I advise them? So be aware, be aware, and then be courageous enough to, what I call, start another baby belief. So if you have believed I'm not enough for 30, 40, 50 years, hire a coach because you need help.
Yes, that is true, isn't it?
You need help changing that belief, but it's possible. It's so possible. So I would encourage you, after being aware of it, reframe that. Start a new baby belief. Maybe the baby belief could be, I can do this one thing this week that I've always wanted to do. Just this one thing, not like a whole new career, not a whole new thing. Just one. Just
right.
Just
yeah,
one little
sometimes
thing.
we'll have like 20 ideas. I'm doing it all.
Yes, exactly. So what's one thing I can do with the new belief I am capable of doing ABC? What is that? For you, it might be, I don't know, write a letter to a friend, or to join a group in your church, or to take a course, or to read this book that you've always wanted to read, but just do that one thing that's different. So just one step. I don't want to overwhelm anybody. That's so just true. What are you capable of?
What are you capable of? Yeah, one step. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep. So how do you think, if women are in this belief system of not enoughness, unworthiness, how would that system make it easier for toxic relationships? What do you think?
Oh yeah, that totally. Then you stay because you don't believe that you can speak up. You kind of play that role of the victim, right?
Gotcha. Right. The victim role.
If you were enough, you would speak up and say, no more, this is not good. Yeah. So that it enables you to stay in this unhealthy place. And
and for the person, like you said, unhealthy place, and the person and the other person to keep reinforcing like you're not enoughness, right?
Yes, and then it's just a vicious cycle. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. It's a cycle. We both know once we start a cycle, it's hard to pull out.
Hard to pull out. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Just say, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do that. But then after a while, once you start believing what that other person says about you, and that becomes part of your belief system, kind of like a brainwashing, I would say, so to speak, then, you're just stuck in it because you're like, wow, well, what he said is true. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of, and then you don't have, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so you just kind of, like I said, you just get stuck in it because once you start believing what they say, it's kind of like that's your Bible. I think in computer terms, it kind of like becomes your operating system. We operate off of whatever our belief system is. And so we've adapted that because we came in the relationship.
Very true.
Not being enough and being unworthy. So the relationship just kind of like reinforce what we already had up here.
What you already believe. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Time to reboot that system.
Right. Exactly. Reboot the system. Exactly. Right. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. Get an upgrade.
Get an upgrade.
You know what I'm saying? We need an upgrade. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So can you tell the audience about like your work as a coach and like a businesswoman in general? How does that empower and impact women's lives?
Okay. So I have a few examples. So for example, the lady I was mentioning who was divorcing later in life.
Yes.
It empowered her to end another bad relationship that she was in after the divorce, because that's what we do, right? People go into what's familiar. So she started another not so healthy relationship. So it empowered her to leave that and start on her own. Okay. Another woman, I also do some parent coaching because I have 6 kids and teenagers and young adults. So she was able to connect with her teenage son in a whole new way. She came to one of my workshops and we had talked about, praise them for something very specific and then sip your lips. So I'll just give you a short example. She did that in the car with her son on the way to a doctor's appointment. And she was telling him, it was so nice to spend time with you this morning. And then she wanted to say, but, and then she heard my voice in the background, sip your lips. And she's like, So she did, because she wanted to say, but wouldn't it be great if you were like this every morning? But she didn't say
that.
Right. So she just paused that, wow, it was so nice to spend time with you this morning, sipped her lips. And then the son was quiet for a second and then looked at her with this, smile and like, yeah, I enjoyed hanging out with you too, Mom. So that is beautiful, right? So that's one way to empower them, that they're able to, again, that's another pattern we're in as moms, right? And she was able to change it by pausing and reflecting, sipping her lips. That was just a beautiful example of her, how she implemented that. Another example. Oh yeah. So one lady, she came to me because she wanted to learn to speak up more in love. And I could tell by her demeanor, by her, everything she said, that she was a very kind and loving woman. So I was not afraid that she would just, blurb out something that would be, hurtful, but she wanted to speak up more, about her needs and her opinions, right? Often our opinions are like pushed down. So she, recently she told me she was able to speak up and voice her opinion in a way that we had talked about. I had prepared her for it, and it was well received. And she felt so good about being able to voice her opinion in a kind way. So that's just a small example, but I live for these small wins, because again, we can't change the whole, world. We're changing one thing at a time. And this is one thing I love with working with my clients, by showing them, see what you just did. Now your brain knows you're capable of this. So next time it tells you, I don't know how to do this, you're like, no, last week I did this and it worked and I am capable of this. So we build on that. It's like the compound effect. You do it once, you do it again, and then you get better at it, and it builds and it builds and it gets better. So I love to help empower women in my coaching by showing them what they did, what they're capable of, what they have changed, and then to build on that.
Gotcha. That is so true. Oh my word. So what would you say, now that we've talked about that, I'm thinking in terms of what would be your definition of resilience and flourishing?
Ooh. Resilience, just keep getting up. You fall down, you get up. That's my definition.
Fall down and then we get back up again, right?
Yeah. That's, and then the more you do that, the shorter those intervals are. Like, you don't stay on the ground as long. You pick yourself up faster.
We pick ourselves right on back up faster. Exactly. Yes.
And flourishing, also, let me go back to resilience. Like, the more you go through hardships, and the Bible tells us there's no way around them. They're just going to be there, right? And that's also what the life coaches that I follow, that are not even believers, but they say the same thing. Life is 50-50. It's negative, positive, good, bad. It's half and half, right?
That is true. Yes.
So we all agree on that. Yes. But the more you go through the struggles, the more resilient you will be at the end. It's just the same as, the old metaphor of going to the gym and working out your muscles. It hurts. It's uncomfortable and it's work, but at the end you're stronger. So the more you go through these valleys, right? Your podcast is called The Valley of Grace. The more you go through the valleys, and there's different valleys, different hardship, different tasks that are difficult for you. But the more you are able to go through them, the more resilient you are at the end.
That is so true, because you got something, like you said, to take your mind back to, even when that fear, we talked about earlier with the fear of the unknown, when that fear comes in, and then, it's like when we tell us, oh yeah, Tina, you've been through that before. Remember? Yes. God brought you out of that.
Yes.
So you, the same God, a lot of times I'll tell myself, the same God that helped you to get to wherever you need to go, blah, blah, is the same God that's going to help you with this.
Exactly.
I remind myself that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a good reminder. Absolutely. And flourishing, that's a good question. I was thinking, okay, so you need to understand I'm German and I take things literally. So let me explain what my thought process was when you showed me that question. So flourishing, I'm going, you can't flourish if you're not rooted.
Right.
So you have to be rooted. You have to have a secure root for the plant to flourish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scripture, I don't know where, but it says that we're rooted and grounded in God's love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know where, sorry. But so if we're not, we can't flourish if we're not grounded, if we're not rooted.
Right.
So whatever that means to you, right? Whatever that grounding is for you and that rooting, that identity, I guess it's the identity. You can't flourish if you don't know who you are. You can't flourish if you're not safe.
True. That is so true. Yeah.
So flourishing is, blooming. Yeah. You're adding joy and different things in your life. If you think of a flower blooming, it's colorful and it's beautiful. And I think we're meant to embrace that in our lives, the joy that he has for us, and
I agree.
the beauty and all those good experiences. So that's flourishing to me.
Yes. Because even with the pain, we can walk around and have the joy and the pain at the same time and still flourish. And it's a matter of us having that, as we talked about, the resilience to bounce back.
Yes.
And having that community support system to keep going.
It all goes together.
It all goes together. Amen. So what would you say, like, when it comes to what it is that you do, what would you say would be the necessary key components in order for someone to do what you're doing as far as healing? Like what would they need to heal in order to do what you do as far as coaching other women?
So for somebody to start healing, again, it starts with the awareness, A for awareness. You can't heal if you don't know what the hurt is. So you need to go there. We need to go to that place, and that's uncomfortable. So I help them go there and I support them. I also think they need to realize what, like you mentioned, those old beliefs, I'm not enough. What are those old stories? What are those old beliefs that you have? We explore that after being aware, right? We explore those old stories.
Right.
And then I help them grow and receive like a new identity, right? That goes a little deeper, but who are you without the role as wife, as mom, as sister, as daughter? Who are you? Like deep down, so that I help them receive that new identity. And I do all that with renewing the mind. I have a wonderful tool where we literally can write down the circumstance, then what we think about the circumstance, what we feel because we think that, what our actions is and what our results is. So then we look at that. It's almost like taking a piece out of your brain, looking at it. I'm like, oh, that's what's going on in here. Woo. Then you decide, oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking. Oh my goodness. All right. And then we decide, is that thought useful? Like we did with the I'm not enough. Is that a useful thought? Or do you want to renew that? So that to me, and again, this is not from a Christian coach, but it so aligns with renewing the mind, right? When God says, don't be transformed to this world.
Yes.
But be renewed by what?
Our minds.
Yes. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I'm sorry. Be transformed by the renewing of the mind. So then we literally choose new thoughts, and I have a whole list. If your listeners would like them, I have a whole list of new thoughts. And you just look at them, you're like, oh wow. And you pick, like you're at the banquet, you're like, oh, I like this appetizer or that one. You just find a few that align with you. So you're like, oh, I want to believe that. And then you practice them, So renewing the mind. And then it's not just a one-day thing. It's like over and over and over and over until it's ingrained in your mind.
Yes.
So start believing that. And like we talked about, then you take action. So that's also part of healing. You take action towards a new goal.
I know exactly what you mean, because we can build up all the information and knowledge in the world, but if we don't do anything with that, right?
Yeah. So that's part of healing. Somebody's in a better place when they take action towards their new life.
That is true. Yes.
It's always like God says, it always shows in the fruit. It always shows by what we do.
Yep, it sure does. That one step. Yep. Yes. Now, a woman comes up to you, I want my power and identity back. And then you say,
I say congratulations because she's done the biggest step already. I would applaud her for even coming to that realization. I think that's a wonderful thing. If a woman came to me with that, I'm like, you got it, girl. I would applaud her.
Girl.
Somebody saying that has already done some work. Nobody would come to me saying they want that unless they have already done some work. They've already done some steps, like being aware, realizing their old beliefs. Now I want to, what was your word? Identity. I want my power and identity.
Power and identity.
They have already done some difficult work. So I'm like, let's go.
Let's go. You ready? Yeah. Some seed has already been planted. Yes. Like you said, when we talk about the 5 people, we would, even with, if it's one of those books or one of those communities, something has been planted that has gotten them to that point, right?
Exactly. So I would congratulate them. Absolutely.
Yeah. Something's been planted to get to that self-awareness for them to even realize, to have a desire to have it back.
Exactly. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. What's one thing you would want someone to think about when they think about you? When they say, oh, Isabelle Stephenson, what would you want them to think about?
So I'm going to say something I want them not to think about me. Is that I'm always happy. They might think I'm always happy because all my pictures I'm smiling, but that's not true. I'm not always happy. So and also that's maybe to answer your question more correctly, I want them to know that I'm doing my work. Gotcha. I don't just show up happy. There is work behind the scenes that get me here. I have affirmations, I have declarations, I do reading, I do listening, I walk, I do things to, very intentionally.
Yes.
To get, to be positive.
Yes. Yep. It does make sense because I know with myself, I do a lot of maintenance just for Tina to be out on social media. And, for me to go out and do what it is that I do, I have to do maintenance within myself.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like you said, with the affirmations, and I read a lot of both Christian books, and some of them might be as far as growth is concerned. I'm constantly learning.
Yes.
Listen to podcasts, preaching, worship music. I do my own therapy, usually once a week. And so I am doing all those things that's necessary for me to do what I need to do. I'm pouring into myself so I can pour out.
Exactly. People don't see that. So I would like them to know that it's not automatic. It's not automatic.
Yes. And that's what a lot of time people do think, that when they see others, they're like, oh, she's happy all the time, or she's this or he's that. And there is work that's involved.
There's work that is involved.
The product that they see that's coming out.
Correct. You're right.
Yes.
Correct.
Tons of work. Yes. So if money wasn't an option, what would you do? What do you think you would do to help women?
I would have them hire a coach, every single one of them.
Yeah, because you know how important it is, right?
How important it is. That's my answer. I would help them hire a coach because they can help you. They can help you transform your life.
That is so true. And I've got some fun questions for you as we wrap up.
All right.
The time has gone by so fast, I can't even believe it,
It's fun talking to you, yes.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, for sure. Yes. What songs do you have on your playlist?
Oh boy, I don't have a playlist.
Or do you have some songs you like to listen to and just go on your phone? And
I listen to, let's say when I'm in the car, I listen to the music my kids are playing because I want to give them that opportunity. So I listen to their songs, and they're very different. Right now, my 2 youngest teenagers. So I listen to them. My own playlist is all happy songs, like literally Happy by Pharrell and stuff like that. But when I listen to music, is more like, let's say I'm doing a mundane task like dishes.
Right.
Don't like doing dishes. So I need to listen to something happy. Sometimes that's, since I'm German, sometimes I go back and listen to some of the German artists that were big in the 80s, or sometimes I listen to just instrumental. Gosh, what's her name? Lindsay Sterling. She does violin. Or Andrea Bocelli or Celine Dion. Those big voices, I like those.
Okay.
So that's a different answer for you, right?
Yeah. No, because you know what, we're all, as we talked about, we're all wired up different.
Yes.
Some people expect, oh, well, because this person is a Christian, that means that they're going to have all Christian music they listen to. No, I love my Christian music, and I love contemporary Christian music. I love gospel, the gospel aspect of it, you know.
Absolutely.
Deep down in me from my Baptist roots as a little girl.
Yes.
And I love R&B music, you know, and
I don't know much about that.
Like I don't. I love R&B music.
You have to send me some of your songs. I'll listen.
I will.
Yeah. I grew up very differently than you. We're very wired very differently. Yes. But I like Mandisa. She has a great voice. I've been to one of her concerts. That was awesome. I like her songs. I like motivational, uplifting, positive songs. I'm not surprised.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. So, do you have a favorite kitchen gadget?
Oh yes, my air fryer.
You do.
My air fryer.
Really?
It does so many things. I do meat, like chicken in there. You can do breaded chicken in there, like, you know, chicken strips, and bread them yourself, put them in there for a few minutes, and they're done. Homemade fries. You just cut, you know, you cut the potato. You're looking very concerned. You cut the potato in I don't know, 8 pieces. You put oil and salt and pepper on it, and put them in there in 10 minutes or more, and it's done and crispy and doesn't use a lot of fat. So it's the air fryer. It gives you the fried food without all the grease. I love it.
That is unbelievable. So just 10 minutes.
Oh, maybe more. For the potatoes, probably more, or the chicken, it's more. But you can also reheat the 10 minutes. I just pulled that out of thin air. I don't know.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's definitely not 60 like for fries that I would put in the oven.
Like
so
the
I love it.
Time. You're
love
right.
It, yeah.
Sometimes we have a taste of fries. You know, you buy a bag from the store, and like you said, you're waiting almost 60 minutes.
Yeah.
To get them to the nice crispiness that you want. You notice that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It can be a good 45 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
You're not going to put fries in the oven and expect to eat them in 15 minutes. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
that. That is wonderful. So the air fryer. Okay. Now you got some books on your list that you can't live without?
I'm not sure. I would say I can't live without them. So I'm going to answer your question differently. Just the ones I had recently read. Is that okay?
Sure. Yes. I love it. Yes.
Okay. So I read The Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and it was very interesting. I'm doing a workshop for a lady who owns a local bicycle shop, like electric bicycles. And I do like workshops for the community there. And that's one of the books she wanted me to do it on. So I listened to it. It was Audible because I can't sit down and read a big book. So I listened to it. And that was very interesting because it was all about creativity. And I believe, you know, God gave us those creative choices. So it was very interesting how she talked about it. Another one is What Your ADHD Child Wishes You Knew by Sharon Celine. And that, of course, is because I have one or more ADHD children, and I'm just learning about it and how to better support them in a kind and peaceful way. So that I need to go back and listen to the next chapter. And I ordered a self-love workbook, and I didn't write down the author, but I can't wait to dig into that, because if I just may say that self-love never came up in a sermon growing up, or and I wasn't like in a believing church until I was 16. So I started later on. But self-love always sounded wrong to me until that verse jumped out at me where it says, love your neighbor as yourself.
That's exactly what I had in mind as you were just sitting here. I had that in my mind saying that. Yeah, we can't do that. Even when it comes to racism, we cannot love another individual who's different than us until we love ourselves. We have problems loving ourselves. We can't love somebody out the same race or a different one. Yes.
You're so right. You're so right. And
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. And maybe it's just because you brought that up. I truly want to apologize for whatever you had to go through in the recent month and years. That was horrendous. So
thank you.
And I don't know enough about it, but I'm I'm learning. That's one thing I'm learning. And one of my children really woke me up and it's like, Mom, you have to educate yourself on this. What's going on in this country? So he was very in my face, and you know how you learn from your children. So yeah, I'm learning, and I'm really sorry for anything you had to endure and go through.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I totally appreciate that. Yes, totally appreciate it.
And so another book is How to Declutter Your Way to Success. And it's just,
I like that title.
Small book. It's by Isabelle Stephenson. She's an awesome lady. I'm taking her course. It's called Vision 101, if anybody is interested. And one of the modules is the decluttering. So I can't wait to listen to that because I listen to the audio. And one I want to read is a classic that I have not yet read, and it's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. So I think I can learn from that one.
Got you. Wow. Isn't that something? So by the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
Yes.
You know, it's funny because this is the second interview I've done today. Okay. And you're the second person that had that on their list as far as the 5 books.
It's on my shelf and it hasn't been opened.
And I've got it on my Kindle. I got it in my Kindle app. Yeah, I got that same book. I'm reading it. Yep. That is really something. The second one. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my word. So can you name 3 things that you do when it comes to nourishing your soul?
Oh, I love that. Nourishing my soul. That feels good. So
I know, just hearing those words, right? I said, just hearing those words, right? To nourish the soul.
It's beautiful, nourishing the soul. So I like to walk, preferably at the beach, but sometimes I'm in Florida. Sometimes it's really hot. So I walk in the neighborhood. That's one thing that I do to nourish my soul. It's just be in nature. I also love to be with my children. That nourishes my soul. And I love playing games. Any game like charades or anything, like if it's my birthday, they know I'm gonna have to want to play a game with them, so they're already prepared. So playing games nourishes my soul. Being outside, like hiking, kayaking, and walking, just walking at the beach, being outside in nature.
Oh wow. And that's just like you said, nature is something about fresh air, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And just hearing the waves and feeling the sand, it's like you're connected to the creator somehow. It's just that's one of my grounding exercises, you know.
Isn't it grounding? Just like, you know, sometimes I just take my feet and just put them down in the sand and just standing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's a good feeling.
It's a very good feeling. You just like, oh, this is it's good.
Yeah, I like that.
Can you describe, this is the last question, but it's still important, your perfect day?
My perfect day.
Yes.
So, of course, it's waking up and with a good cup of coffee. Then all my children are here. All 6 of them married and everybody's here.
Okay.
And then we do something fun together. We go kayaking or hiking and we laugh and we have fun together. And at the end of the evening, we have a good meal and we watch a movie. That's a perfect day for me.
Oh, I love it. I love it because you got that nature in, right?
Yes, get that nature in, get my kids in there.
Got the kids, fellowship with the kids.
Yes.
And you end it with a good movie.
Yes.
Oh, my word. Yeah.
And good food, of course.
And good food. You can't end it without having good food.
Right? Food and fellowship goes together. That's right.
Oh, my word. This has been truly a blessing. And I want to thank you so much, for taking the time out of your business schedule to come and talk to me.
Well, Katrina, thank you so much for having me. And again, I want to acknowledge you for the warmth and the love and the care that you're showing in the world and that you let me experience today just by the questions you asked me and by the way you showed up to interview me. So I thank you for how you showed up today. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are very welcome. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your Monday.
Thank you. You too, Katrina.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
God bless. And until next time, as I always say.
Until next time.
You took the price to give me that life, and now it's it's never gonna fade away. When I see I need more of him, he whispers the sweetest of mercies upon my ears, and I won't go back the way it was again, 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 and now a valley of grace where things would change. I've seen the lights